Kaylee Lolita came on the show, and she told me a story about whenever you guys were in Umeå, Sweden, and I thought it was hilarious because she said that you got thrown in jail, and that you
That wasn't
actually at
Umeå
least.
though.
Oh,
That was Karlstad, Sweden.
okay.
And yeah, I was thrown in jail for whatever, causing a riot.
But she said you actually like jail more than being on tour.
Well, so I mean, on that first tour, you know, you were staying in a lot of squats, and some of them were really fucking nicer than places I never lived, but some of them were anything but.
Mm,
Um, and it's just, you know, you're around people constantly. And so, you know, we play the show and, you know, kids are, you know, it was way oversold. Everybody's stage diving, and these guys come on stage and, you know, they look like rent-a-cops, right? Like they don't have guns, right? Like, so I just think they're like mall security. And in between a song, they grab a mic and they're like yelling in Swedish at people, and I don't know what the fuck's happening. And I'm just like, whatever. So they get done, and then we start playing again, and now kids are going off even more. And midway through the song, this guy, this rent-a-cop looking guy, picks up the mic and he's yelling in the mic, and fucking songs playing. And there was a bass player from Refused. Now, I'm going to preface this by the first 3 days of the tour, we all thought the bass player was the cutest little girl ever. And it turns out it was not a little girl, but just blonde hair. Like this kid was beautiful, looked angelic. But anyway, like the rent-a-cop or cop grabs the mic, and during the song he's yelling, and I just see, and I can't remember his name, but we call him Cop Killer after this. I see Cop Killer behind the drums, and all of a sudden I see them both out from behind the drums and tackle the cop into the crowd. And again, I'm thinking it's like the mall cop just got thrown into the crowd. I think it's got, and what had happened was he started screaming in the mic, and I kind of went like this. And then I look and I see him run out from behind the drums and knock him off stage. So anyway, after the set, you know, it was, you know, kind of wild back then, and that I don't think a lot of bands toured some of these areas. So kids are asking for autographs and stuff like that. And anyway, the promoter comes over, he's like, hey, you have to come outside. And I'm like, okay. So I go outside, and they're having to translate for me, but basically tell me the cops are here because I incited a riot and a police officer was assaulted, and they have to take me to the police station. So this is like wild. Like I don't even like understand what's happening.
right.
And I get to this police station, and they put me in this cell, and I felt like it was like IKEA showroom. Like it was really clean, and you sit on the bed, and it was kind of nice,
Yeah.
and it had a little toilet area that they had a little privacy thing on it. And I was like, I mean, fuck, if I got to stay the night, I guess I'll bad. And I remember they pulled me in a room, and you know, they talked to me, and they're having to translate. They had to get someone there to translate. And they kind of explained to me. I just said, look, like I didn't know that guy was a cop. I didn't know who the hell he was. And I didn't tell anybody to do anything. I don't even, like I didn't even know I went like this. Like I literally didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, earlier in that day, two different like TV stations had come down and interviewed us, because again, I think at that time in Karlstad, Sweden, I don't think a lot of bands from America would speak of like Hare Krishnas like were showing up, right? So it's just a novelty. And I guess one of them had recorded the show, and so the promoter got them to basically give a tape over that showed that I really didn't do anything aside from go from this, because I remember they showed me the video, and I was like, wasn't that wasn't a signal to anybody. I was
Right.
going like this. I'm like, what is this dude grabbing the mic for?
Right.
You know? And so they took a photocopy of my driver's license. And anyway, yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, you're free to go. And I remember coming out, and it was Steve and whoever, I can't remember who, some other person from the tour, I think the promoter, and then maybe our driver. And I remember just being like, fucking assholes, couldn't wait till tomorrow. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, it was like the nicest goddamn room I would have stayed in like months. So, but yeah, it was a wild, you know, wild tour, and it was, you
Oh
know,
man.
it was fun.
That's hilarious.
But
That's
yeah, I
great.
could always pull that story out if I ever need it. Like, hey, I got arrested for inciting a riot in Karlstad, Sweden.
That's glorious, man. That's hilarious.